What's poppin' people, it's your boy Shaq, aka Black Goku, and you wanna know why I'm smiling? You wanna know why I'm smiling? You wanna know why I'm cheesing right now? Because it's motherfucking ReZero day, and today's episode, I already know it's gonna be fucking heat. I looked at the timestamp, it shows that this episode is 30 fucking minutes. I got my soju. Look, brother, I'm bricked up. You're bricked up. Let's be bricked up together and watch ReZero Season 3 together. Fuck it, we ball! Oh, ow! Oh my god, he pieced him up. Okay, so they showed how he got his hands on it. Okay, cool.
おっと反応あったな。で誰も映ってねえじゃねえか。聞いてた話と違ってんな。あるよね。
There we go.
おいおいマジかよ。このパターンは想定してねえぞ。おお、奇遇だなジョーちゃん。
すごく偶然。そうだ。
Maybe he's a little less sus than we thought.
スバルに伝えてほしいことがあるの。
おお、ジョーちゃんが無事って兄弟に伝えて。
3番街の制御塔にはレグルスって滞在司教がいるわ。それから1番街の制御塔には
Less is in the first district.
他の塔も調べられたらよかったんだけど、シリウスがどこにいるかはわからないの。でも放送のこともあるから、ベアトリスのことはちゃんと守ってあげてねって。
Okay.
それから
待てよ。ジョーちゃんがタフでハイパーポジティブなのは分かったよ。けどもっと他にあんだろう。
What?
一生懸命考えたけどダメだった？
ちげえよ。True?
ごめんね、ある。心配かけて。
Oh, this theme is so good.
でも大丈夫だから。
大丈夫って。
And look at her following her own
強がってる
advice.
わけじゃないの。それにこんなこと言ったら変かもしれないけど、スバルが私を助けてくれること。
She has no doubt that Subaru will come save me.
助けに来てくれたスバルが危なくないように、私がしておけること全部しておきたいのよ。あるお願い。
Oh my god, bro.
には後で勝手なお願いしたこと、私から謝る。
Peak fucking fiction. Peak fiction.
さっきの話兄弟たちにちゃんと伝えてやる。あとは白馬の王子様が何とかするだろう。
Oh my god, bro.
王子様じゃなくてスバルが何とかしてくれると思うんだけど。
She's so fucking silly.
俺が悪かったよ。本当におとなしくしてろよ。ジョークじゃねえぞ。
わかった。あれも気をつけて。
Oh my god. You better get out of there, baby girl.
これでスバルたちにちゃんと伝わってくれるわね。あれ？なんで私こんなに自信満々？
Because this is what it feels like to believe in someone. Okay. Skip. Alright.
アナスタシアさん、この使い方ってわかるか？
Oh shit, here we go. Here we go.
精が出るな兄弟。
Damn, he got there quick! Holy shit!
早いお戻りやったんやね。
俺だって好きで戻ったわけじゃねえよ。兄弟に伝言があってな。
伝言？誰から？
結婚前の花嫁はさらってくれる白馬の王子様を待ってるとよ。焼けるね兄弟。
エミリアノ？
てのが
It's from your baby girl.
聞いた話だ。あとベアトリスは大事にしろってよ。
最後の部分含めてだいぶ重要な話。
Of course.
大将！
Garfield! What's wrong? Oh, he's just so happy to see him! Oh my god, bro! Oh my god, that's so adorable! That's so fucking adorable! Are you fucking kidding me? These are all his new family. Of course he's so worried, bro! Bro! Oh my god. This is gonna... Oh, that's just Amelia. She's always like that.
驚きました。
Damn.
まさ さか戻ってくるなんて。ご丁寧に身代わりまで残していたのに。え、身代わり？ちょっと。
So you see how easily she noticed?
私ずっと疲れてここで休んで。冷たい。あ、冷たくない。
She's so fucking cute, bro.
どうしてそのまま逃げてしまわなかったのですか？だから私逃げてなんてしたらあなたと奥さんたちも大変なのに。
He'd probably kill like a bunch of them too.
結局何の意味もなかった。人生の最後に少しだけ勇気を出したつもりが何の意味も。あなた。
This is so hard.
それでここは何の集まりで、そのでっけえミーティアは何に使うんだ？
集まりは魔女教から都市を取り戻したい本部。ミーティアは街中に声を届ける放送アイテムで、この状況。
This is a 30-minute episode. We still got an opening though.
ちょっとした方法をな。
Damn! No!
魔女教の放送と今の都市の状況、不安しかないやろね。
Shit.
それが
There's his little siblings! Raphael and Fred. Damn. Oh my god, bro. I fucking love Garfield. I already said this, but Garfield's one of my favorite characters in the entire series, bro. Seeing his love for Subaru now after like everything they've been through is beautiful. Oh, I hope they do this like such good justice.
うちらが使うことは織り込み済みやって言うん？そんなことして何の得が？
理由なんかねえのさ。連中はこっちのやることなんて何とも思っちゃいねえよ。負けたことがねえし、負けるなんてことは考えて
True. They've never lost and never had to think about losing.
竜が足元のアリの作戦なんか気にしねえだろ
う。なつきくん、放送は乗ってもええよ。
Al has such incredible, I'm not gonna say insight, but he has things to say which I find to be quite interesting.
王選候補者で知名度もある。アナスタシアさんの口から戦おうって意思表明すれば。
うちの言葉に期待するんは難しいと思う。え？知名度の話だけでいいんなら、それでうまくいくんなら、うちも喜んで何でも話したる。けど、うちの
Name isn't powerful enough to clear the exam. I'm already getting choked up thinking about. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. I already fucking know it. I already fucking know it. Like, I'm already getting choked up and tears are forming already just from the thought of this fucking speech. Krush is not in the condition to. She's not in any condition to talk right now.
せやね。でも今のクルシュさんを引っ張り出してミーティアの前に立たせるなんて不可能や。
あんならユーリウスはどうだ。お前ならその資格が。
すまない。
リカードか。いや、プリシラとリリアナを連れてくればワンチャン。よ。それって大将がやるんじゃいけねえのか。は？
Oh my god, I'm getting emotional thinking about the fact that he's gonna do this speech. Crazy work. I'm crying before it even starts. Who else? You're the one who's defeated a Sin Archbishop. You're the one. Oh. It's only you, bro. From the capital till now, bro. Seeing his fucking growth over these past 3 seasons, man. It is so fucking... Bro, you guys have no idea how important this is, man.
騎士を呪った集隊もその後に白芸との戦いに加わりついには怠惰の討伐をも成し遂げたこともこの都市にいる誰かの声が
Anyone in this city can provide relief to the anxious people. It's you.
それは君こそがふさわしいと
It's
私
new
は考え
OST?
君の求めに応じる者は
Many who have answered your call. Garfield among them.
その中に私もいる
I'm among them as well. Come on, bro. Come on. And you know that Subaru, he doesn't value himself that much.
うるせえよてめえが大将を語んな
何もかも背負ってそれでどうにかなるんなら大したもんだけど大多数の凡人はそんな役目なんて背負えねえんだよ俺はもちろん兄弟だってそうさ
Al's talking from experience.
かわいそうだろうな兄弟にとって一番大事なのは
Bro, this build up is diabolical, bro.
だから他の奴らのことは全部後回しにするつもりだ
ある
兄弟もそうしろよジョーちゃんエミリアだけ助けて尽くせ
I mean, I can't say that I've been that quiet, but oh my, I am so overwhelmed right now. This soundtrack is going crazy too.
赤信号の交差点に子供が飛び出したら理由を考える前に手を引いて歩道に連れ戻すような多分そんな感じなんだよ
Come on, Subaru.
もしやるなら兄弟がこれから背負うのは
Heroic delusions?
英雄幻想
負けちゃいけねえ
Those
勝たなきゃ
eyes.
ならねえ希望を担い期待を背負い未来を示して戦うんだ
They almost look the same color as Subaru's though.
そうならなきゃいけねえ
負けちゃいけねえのはいつだってそうだろ
重みが違え兄弟の負けは兄弟の負け
Yup, his losses were never just his own because he always put the weight of everybody on his fucking shoulder. Subaru is such a fucking amazing character, bro. He's always been like, I know everyone thinks that he's cringe for always trying to be the fucking hero. Yes, he has a hero complex. He tries to save everyone when he fucking can. Like, it ends up hurting him so fucking much. But he's always the one that you can rely on no matter what happens, bro. He's always gonna find a way. He's always gonna come through, man. He's gonna sacrifice so much just to see the smile on one person's face the next fucking day. And if he can't, he's gonna fight until he can, bro. Oh my god, dude.
アナスタシアさんやるよ俺の声でどうにかできるなら俺がやる
Come on, let me hear, please, let me hear this shit this episode. Stop blueballing me, man.
俺のやることは変わらない英雄いいじゃねえかいや正直照れくさいにも程があるけど
It's not embarrassing,
ヒーロ
bro.
ーやることだけならもう1年前から決めてたんだそうしないと見られてる子に恥ずかしいし、見てる子の背中に
You've went through quite a lot. Embarrassment is only one of the few minor things. Come on, show the shot. Show the shot. Put your hands down, slap it on there. She shows too many emotions.
私は小さな村で暮らすただの娘でした。そんな私をめとるために旦那様は父も母も兄弟も隣人も互いの顔と名前を知るだけの村の人も一人残らず目立ちました。
Killed everyone.
彼の妻は全員同じ境遇です。
So, what do you think he plans to do to everyone else?
これでちゃんとみんなに声が聞こえてるのか
スバ
マイクテストマイクテストワンツーワンツーよし聞こえてるみたいで助かる。あれまずは最初に驚かせてごめん。今度は何言われんだって不安になった人が。
Sorry if I'm completely silent for this segment.
俺は魔女教の人間。
I don't want to talk over any of this.
じゃあ助かったのか。
あいつら追い出してくれたの？
期待させて悪いんだが魔女教の脅威はまだ去ってない。都市庁舎は
Immediately.
制御塔は奴らの手に落ちたまんまだ。都市が水没する危険も奴らの要求もまだ生きてる。
Everyone's listening.
煽るような真似をして俺を何様だって思ってる人もいるはずだ。
Everyone's listening, bro.
何様でも何者でもないよ。みんなと同じ状況に振り回されて理不尽に押しつぶされそうでビビって足が震えてる。そんなやつだ。こうしてみんなに呼びかける役目も俺には2が勝ちすぎてるって思ってるよ。本当ならもっとこうしてだけど今こうして俺が話してる。俺なんかよりよっぽどすごい人たちが俺がやるべきだってそう言ってくれてる。そうすることに意味があるんだって。俺の声震えてないか？人前に立つなんて俺のキャラじゃないんだよ。立派なことも言えないしみんなを引っ張ってくカリスマだって俺にはない。弱くてどうしようもなくてこんな大一番今だって逃げたくてしょうがなくて何ができるかなんてわからなくて耳を塞いで頭を抱えて自分がうずくまってる間に全部解決し。
やだい。
それでも逃げられないから戦う。俺はそれだけのやつだ。もう一度聞かせてくれ。この声を聞いてる人は今どこにいる？避難所に逃げ込めてるか？自分の家に隠れてるのか？一人で震えてたりしないか？誰かと一緒にいられてるか？一緒にいるのは大切な人か？知らない顔でもこの数時間で見知った顔になったか？しっかり浮かんでくるんだ。経験則だ。わかるよ。だから一人にならないでくれ。誰かと一緒にいてくれ。そしてできるなら一緒にいる誰かの顔を見てくれ。今誰の顔を見た？大切な人か？それともこの数時間を一緒に過ごした知らない相手か？多分ひでえ顔してるだろう。泣き顔だったり辛そうだったり。
Me, bitch, I'm crying.
それが許せるかよ。
やだよ。
俺は許せない。許したくない。俺にも大切な人がいる。大事な仲間がいる。俺はその大切な人たちに辛い顔や悲しい顔をさせてる奴らが許せない。ふざけんじゃねえ。バカにすんなよ。俺の知ってるこの子の笑顔は本当はもっと可愛いんだぜって言ってやりてえ。負けっぱなしじゃいられねえ。投げっぱなしじゃ格好がつかねえ。やられっぱなしでいいわけがねえ。間違ってるのはあいつらだ。間違ってる奴らに負けるなんて我慢な。頭が悪いのも全部分かってるけど戦ってやる。あいつらが間違ってる。俺の好きな人たちに泣きそうな顔をさせるあいつらが間違ってる。だから戦う。俺は戦う。みんなにも戦ってほしい。勘違いしないでくれ。何も棒で殴りかかれって話じゃない。俺がみんなに望むことは下を向かないでほしいってことなんだ。
下を向かない。
足元顔を上げて前を向いてくれ。周り見渡してみたらきっと誰かと目が合う。それは同じ不安を抱えてる誰かだけど同じ負けたくないって気持ちを抱えた誰かでもある。信じさせてくれよ。弱くてどうしようもない俺がまだ諦められねえんだ。諦めの悪い弱虫が俺だけじゃないってそう信じさせてくれよ。それとも俺だけなのか？
そんなことないよ。
まだやれるって、まだ戦えるってそう思ってるのは俺だけなのか。
I'm a fucking mess right now.
大丈夫。私もまだ頑張れるから。
Shit.
違うよな。
違う。絶対の絶対に。
Damn. Oh my god.
飲まれやしないよな。
負けない、負けたくない。
当たり前だ。
あなたの声が聞こえるから大丈夫。何にも怖くないわ。
そばにいるのが大切な人ならその手を握って信じてくれ。隣り合うのが知らない誰かなら一緒に頑張ろうってうなずきかけてくれ。自分もその人も負けも折れもしないで戦えるんだって。みんなが折れずにいてくれるなら俺も諦めないで戦う。勝ってみせる。俺の名前は夏木スバル、魔女教滞在式を平を倒した精霊使いだ。魔女教は俺と仲間たちがどうにかする。だからみんな信じて戦ってくれ。大切な人の手を握って負けそうになる弱い心をぶっ飛ばしてくれ。そしたら後のことは全部この俺に任せておけ。
今の声は私の騎士様。すごく頑張り屋さんなの。私逃げないわ。あなたたちを置いてどこかに行ったりしない。どうして怖い気持ちでいっぱいだったはずなのに、それでもあなたは私を助けようとしてくれた。あなたにも他の子たちにも幸せになってもらいたい。付き合ってるのに結婚できなかった人たちを。
Oh my god.
今もまだ二人のことを思うと胸が痛む。結婚しているのに幸せにだわ。考えはご立派ですが、何かするならあなたを一人で。私一人で。そうじゃない。私ずっと一人じゃなかった。結婚式をしましょう。夏希くん、
ごめんなさい。もっとうまくやります。
なんで謝るの。変な子よね。
素晴らしい演説だった。
大将やっぱり大将だぜ。
いや、恐れ入ったわ。嬢ちゃんらに幼女にチリウまでたぶらかした面目役女やないか。
どうしたやね。
たぶらかしてねえし、先導者って人聞き悪いよ。少しは町の人たちを励ませたか。
You encouraged a lot more than just some
あ
townsfolk.
とは原因そのものの排除やね。
ああ、そのためには制御塔の4箇所同時攻略か。
それなら鬼札が一
Oh no!
のはいかがですか。
おっと、ドアに無事だったかよ。
命からがらどうにかこうにかではありましたが、それとお連れしました。
Reinhardt, let's go! And he already knows! Got the strongest piece on the board, other than himself.
ラインハルト・バン・アストレア。
Oh, that aura!
せながら
That aura! The newest of heroes and the most ancient of heroes. I needed to breathe. I needed to take a minute. I needed to take a moment to collect, recompose. Hello. My name is Shaq, aka Black Goku. My friends call me Goku or Shaq. I first watched ReZero when it first aired in 2016. My favorite anime at the time was Attack on Titan, and I was super excited that it was getting a second season, and I was going to watch it on like some random like anime streaming site. And when I like went to go search for it, I went to the homepage of this anime site, and it showed like a top 5 list of anime that were being watched that season, and or at least as far as like the site goes, like what people were watching the most. And when I looked at this list, Attack on Titan wasn't number 1, and I thought that was really odd because of the cultural like phenomenon that Attack on Titan still is. I mean, like, even though it's over, it's arguably like the biggest anime like that's dropped in the past like 10 or so years. Like it's actually older, even 10 years old, as far as like the anime. But the number 1 anime wasn't Attack on Titan, it was ReZero. And I'm looking at this title, and I'm like, what is ReZero? And I'm looking at the thumbnail art, or like the cover art, the poster art, and it's just a picture of some random dude wearing a fucking black and orange and white track jacket surrounded by a bunch of sleeping girls. And I'm like, okay, why the fuck is this number 1 over Attack on Titan season 2? Like, and season 2 went crazy. I click on the link because I'm just curious. I'm like, okay, what the fuck is this show about? Because this is when I was a little bit more open to trying like random new shows and like, you know, seeing how it would go. And if it didn't go well, then, you know, I can drop it or I can finish it, whatever. But I was very curious to see why this anime was number 1 over Attack on Titan at the time that it first aired. And so I read the synopsis, which I don't know if that was like one of my biggest mistakes or one of the best things that I've ever done in my life, was reading the synopsis. And when I read it, it said that a boy named Natsuki Subaru gets transported to a parallel world where he discovers that his only ability is that when he dies, he gets to turn back time. And I thought that was such an interesting concept. So I was like, oh, well shit, his power is to die and like reset, like respawn. I want to see how that works. So I watched the first episode, which was a 2-parter. Depending on what site you watched it on, it was episode 1A, episode 1B, or it was just one 45-minute episode. And the thing about me watching the first episode is, since I already knew that he could die, I was watching it to see how he figured that out and how that even works. Like, what type of show was this gonna be? And so I'm watching the first episode, and I am utterly enthralled. I'm entranced by every single moment of it. Like, even though, like, in hindsight, I didn't understand a lick of what was going on. Even though I knew what he could do, I didn't know what was actually going on in the show. Like, everyone can tell you this who's like watched ReZero. You haven't watched ReZero until you've rewatched ReZero at least multiple times. And for some people, like, you know, they may not like ReZero. ReZero may not be for them. It's not for everyone. Sure, I get that. Not every show is good for everyone. Not everyone's gonna like everything the same way that you are, not the same way that I am. I get that. I understand that. I get that it's, you know, it's up to the discretion of the person who's consuming it. But I was utterly captivated by that first episode, and suffice to say, every single week that I watched or waited to watch ReZero, I was always on the edge of my fucking seat. I could not put this stuff down. Although at that time I wasn't reading it, I didn't read the novels, and I don't even think the light novel was really like far at that point. So I honestly thought that the original like material, the source material, was a manga, and it's not. It wasn't. So me being anime only, this was like one of the first times, other than Attack on Titan, that like I'm watching something and I am so gripped by the characters, the story, the lore, like the writing, the world building, everything, like the art, animation, everything was such a delight that the emotional turmoil that this series would bring to me, like the unrest, the like intense anxiety and distress that I would feel from watching this series, even without even knowing about Subaru's backstory, kept me coming back week after week after week. By the time that I got to episode 15 of season 1, I already knew that this anime was special. I knew that there was no way that this series was gonna be a flop. There was no fucking way. By the time that I got to episode 18 of season 1, I cried. I sat there, I listened to that speech, and I cried. At the very end of that episode, as soon as like the episode was done, I watched it again. And like I don't know if some of you OGs are gonna remember this, but remember S.A. Remember S.A. for the ReZero episode reactions? Or not episode reactions, but for the ReZero episodes? Whoever you are, S.A. I don't know if you're going to ever see this. I don't know if you're going to watch or react to any of anyone else's content when it comes to ReZero. I'm sure that you're still keeping up with it by far, like right now, because you showcased back then in 2016 when this first came out that you were on that level. I don't know if you're a guy, girl, whatever the fuck you identify as. I appreciate you for what you did back then. If no one else knows who I'm talking about, then let's just not have this name be forgotten. After I finished episode 18 of ReZero, I even made my, at the time, roommate watch the episode with me, even though he had not seen anything from ReZero. I was like, hey, look, man, I just watched this episode of this anime, and it was, to say it was good would be a severe understatement. I told him, look, without much context, the main character was just about to give up on everything. Not just on his life, on himself, on the people that he loved, on everything. He was just going to give up. That's the only thing that I told my friend before I made him watch episode 18 of ReZero season 1. He watches the episode and he's like fairly quiet the entire time. And no, he's like a relatively loud guy. Like he's like very boisterous, kind of like myself. Like he's not one to just stay so quiet and locked in. Even when we're watching a show, he'll usually have some like witty banter, talk a little bit of shit. But he was silent during this entire episode. And when we were done, he was like, dude, that was crazy. All he could say was like, that writing was insane. The dialogue between the characters was insane. And I was like, yeah, this is my favorite anime now. The reason why I wanted to give you guys like that backstory is because I don't think I've ever went into detail about how I got into ReZero or why I got into ReZero, but I wasn't one of the original like novel readers when it came out. I got in for the anime. I was an anime only until season 2. This episode of ReZero, I've been alluding to it. I've been talking about it. I've been foreshadowing it. I've been mentioning it so many times. If I had read all of ReZero or up until like when each season came out, if I knew about episode 15, if I knew about episode 18, if I knew about or episode 4 of season 2 and reacted to it, if I knew about like episode 6 and 8 of season season 2 just went crazy. If I knew about like Choose Me and like reacted to it, like if I knew about these major moments, not only would I have been mentally anxious to see that shit play out in an animated like format, but you can only get so much when you're reading this, right? You can only understand or visualize, you can only imagine so much until the anime drops. Imagine everyone who never, like, who read the series up until whenever the anime dropped, and there was no voice acting, there's no anything to go off of other than the occasional like photos or like illustrations that we get in the light novels up until the point where the anime dropped. We had very little to reference, very little to go off of, just like other than our imaginations and like what we can like perceive from the light novel illustrations. But there are certain moments that now that I know that they are a thing because I've read like up until the very, very beginning. I'm not caught up with Arc 9, but I've read up until the very beginning of Arc 9 that there were some major moments that I've been so heavily anticipating. Even now, like, I've been past Arc 5 and Arc 6 for over a year. Like, it's been so long. I'd say even 2 years, dude. It's been more than 2 years since I have finished reading Arcs 5 and 6, respectively. And so there are still so many moments that even though I haven't reread arcs, okay, I like reread Arc 5 and 6 like one extra time other than like the first time. Also, I hope you guys don't hear that background noise because like there've been some people working on like doing some yard work. It's like almost 4 p.m. where I am, and I kind of tried to put off like recording because I thought that the noise would be like distracting, but I was like, fuck it, I can't wait. But these moments, like this speech, peak speech, when I first read this, and my eyes are getting like, they're getting watery again just thinking about just the word speech. Like, when I first read this chapter of Arc 5, I wasn't as bad as I am now, but I did shed some tears. I was so invested in this fucking speech. This by far, oh my god. This, I already knew going into it that it was going to make me extremely emotional. I knew how much this was going to beat me up because of how well the character writing is. Like every single element of this series, it's fucking peak. I knew going into it just how significant this episode was going to be, and it was only just a matter of like when I could time or like when it would come out. I knew for a fact that the episode that he would give this speech, I would lose my fucking shit. Because the voice acting, the music, the visuals, the build up. And let me fucking say, I was impatiently waiting during the start for them to hurry up and get to that fucking speech. I almost thought to do them a disservice by forcing them to rush to the speech in my head, but I needed to calm myself down and allow things to play out the way that I knew they would. Subaru's speech, it goes so fucking deep in so many ways that I can't even begin to articulate myself right now. Now that they, okay, so I'm gonna quickly go over like the whole thing with like Al and with the witch cult like in the beginning scene. So, you know, going off of last week's episode, we see that, you know, he's not really like that. Well, he is still sus, but he managed to wipe out some some regular fingers slash witch cultists, like the little foot people, the ground people, and he managed to get a hold of the two-way mirror. That's how he was able to like speak to Amelia, and it was honestly on his first fucking try. It seems like. So he's not really crazy sus. He's still sus, but it still goes to show that whatever he was doing that shit right. And he did give Amelia like some much needed words of encouragement to make sure that she knew that, look, I'm going to deliver this message, but just know you got to make sure that you're safe. Don't do anything too rambunctious, and just, you know, do what you can to survive. I want to talk more about it, but like I'm not in the mental space to go all out about that conversation right now, because the main thing of this episode was the speech. Also, I'm going to talk about it real quick. Garfield coming in and jumping into Subaru's arms, like wrapping his entire body around Subaru, like seeing that he was fucking safe. That almost broke my fucking heart. That almost broke me right there. That shit, man, I can't. Like, that's and Subaru didn't just like stand there and just like, okay, just let him do it. He let him do it, and then he also held him up, was embracing him, because like this is Subaru's little brother. I said it. There we go. Garfield is Subaru's little brother. We all know this. This is their relationship. Garfield having a duty to the person that he looks up to as his big brother, also as his boss, like the person who helped him get out of the darkest moments of his life. The last time Garfield saw him was strapped to the fucking dragon, hanging on, clinging on for dear life, and then falling into the water, missing a leg. And his scream at the end when he was saying, "Boss," you can tell, there's too much. There's so much to fucking dissect. All I'm gonna say is, you know that we know Garf was going through it already. And then for him to see his fucking big bro, his Aniki, Kyodai, Subaru, falling into the water, potentially dead, lost, like, only for him to see him standing right before him, recovered, fine, talking, standing, like amongst friends. I can't even begin to fathom that. But I digress. Like, we can have a whole episode talking about Garfield. Now, let me tell you a little bit of why I think that peak speech is as peak as it fucking is, right? So, up until this moment, like, we look at season 1. Season 1, Subaru was a mess. He had the right intentions. He wanted what he thought was best for everyone, but he didn't know everything. He constantly, time after time, was trying to think before he was acting before thinking in a lot of cases. And then the times that he was trying to think, he was thinking too selfishly, right? He was trying to implore his own will onto others, or sorry, impose, not implore, I'm sorry. He wanted to impose himself, his feelings onto everybody else, thinking that he knew what was best, when he himself was already a broken, defeated character that was only trying to find escapism after coming to this new world. He has an inferiority complex to his dad, like anxiety, depression. There is so much shit that Subaru deals with and has dealt with, and seeing how his character started off in season 1 to the point where we can get to episode 18 and he can, and someone like his actions led someone else to calling him their hero. He made a fucking fool of himself. He cursed the knights, as Julius said. He disrespected Lagunica. And then days later, he was the one who essentially spearheaded the strike to not only subjugate the white whale that has been a fucking menace to society, a terror on the world for the past 400 years. Not only does he swiftly wrap that up, and without him they would have 100% failed, within the same next day or two goes and for the first time in history defeats what is essentially a modern day witch, as this man with no power, no resources, seemingly no knowledge of anything, he just comes and he just does this. For someone to have seen Subaru in the capital and then hearing that he did this within a couple days, like after that showcase, anyone would call fucking bullshit. But that was just the first season. Season 2 came, he got hit with one of the most diabolical fucking cliffhangers in that Rem had been attacked by gluttony and greed. They didn't know about greed, they just knew about gluttony. If Subaru knew that the same person who has come to take his queen, his princess, was also there and partially responsible for Rem being in the state that he's in, on sight, Subaru would have been bloodlusted in the same way that he was when he encountered gluttony. Season 2 taught Subaru to value his life, to value himself. The trials, I think, are some of the best moments, the best, plot points that encompass all of, not just ReZero, but all of fucking fiction. From what I've read, what I've seen. I haven't seen everything, so, this may be a very boisterous thing to claim. But I think the trials have to be one of the most masterfully written parts of an arc of any piece of fiction. For Subaru to test to see if he had truly developed as a character, which we knew that he did, in the second season he had to go through trials. And what's interesting about this is the fact that it wasn't just a metaphorical trial, it was an actual physical trial. Because some people would have said, okay, based on the ending of season 1, where he just saves Amelia, everything's done, and the day is saved, there's nothing else to look forward to. Oh, he's magically now a better person. No. True, he did grow, he did learn from his mistakes and a lot of his actions from the first season, and from even before that, before he even came to Lagunica. But what you have to realize is a person can't just change overnight. Sure, they may get better in some regards to some of their actions, the way that they talk, the way that they carry themselves, the way that they interact with people, maybe. Even their temperament can change a little bit, but you can't completely change a person with one event or like, you know, like a few like major events. It's not always going to show either, you know, if they change or if they don't. But for Subaru, there were many things that did change, but at its core, there were still some things that he was struggling with. We saw that he was able to overcome his past. We saw that because of what Rem did for him in season 1. That's why he was able to get over, you know, the first trial, overcoming your past. And, you know, and thanks to like a lot of other characters too, but it was the most prevalent character that helped him, in my honest opinion, was Rem. It's part of why like I'm a huge Rem stan. Even now, like I'm like fucking 9 arcs in. I've read some of the side material. I've read like some of the EX stuff. I've read like the if stories. Like not all of them, but I've read like a chunk of them. I've read some very seemingly not relevant side stories about how like when like the first night that Subaru even got brought to the mansion, how Bayako and Rem already were suspicious of him when he got brought in. And Rem, I mean, I don't know if I want to spoil it. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but if you guys don't know, there are some side story. There's a lot of side stories, some of which actually go into more detail about like stuff like what happened in between when Subaru passed out at the loot house to waking up for the first day in the mansion. There was some shit that happened there that not only foreshadowed what was going to be happening in that like arc, but shit that wouldn't happen until arc fucking 4. Like Bayako, all like on site, can feel Subaru as soon as he came in, and that they had that he had the same affinity for shadow magic. She was like, "Oh, it's just a coincidence." But something like that, I guess like light spoiler, I guess. Even though it's like most of you guys probably won't even read this shit, and if you have already, then like kudos to you. I'm kind of tired of not being able to talk about enough shit for ReZero, so like I'm just gonna yap. But the second trial is the one that almost, or was actually mentally breaking him, where he was forced to see the consequences of his actions and inactions in what each of these worlds will look like after he's died. And after seeing the possible present, the so many presents of all the people that he's left behind, which also is an anti I don't like, now that like shit's monetized, I don't know how to like go around saying certain things without like demonetizing it, but like it was an anti self-delete message where that second trial was showing Subaru something that I don't think a lot of people really give a lot of thought if they were to try and delete themselves. And that's seeing the aftermath of that. Whether you jump off of a building, he jumped off of a cliff. Whether you slit your throat, cut your wrists, anything that could like result in you like perishing. Subaru's died that way. For him to see the people who not only he loved and cared about, but the fact that he couldn't process that they loved and cared about him in that same way, if not more, he couldn't fathom seeing them suffer, being there in a world where he is now not there. It's such an emotional, impactful realization, because this is someone who has struggled to find a sense of self-worth since he was a fucking kid, to the point where he just doesn't value not only his life but himself. He doesn't look at himself as someone who can be worthy of, like, dude, when the episode Friends in season 2, when Subaru's sitting here looking at Otto like, why are you going through all of this stuff to try and save me? Like, you're just some merchant guy. Like, and I know you want to like talk to Roswell and like, try and sell some of your goods and wares and whatnot, but like, why are you risking your life to save me? And Otto's like, well, is it so crazy to want to help a friend? Subaru's never had those types of connections before. So seeing someone who's very apparent, like in his face about it, you're my friend, he's like, who's friend? Am I your friend or you my friend? And friendship usually works both ways, unless you're a weirdo. And for Subaru to not realize that Otto looked at him as a friend, that's why he was crying and laughing, because like, well, how can I be so stupid not to see it? It's because he's never had it. Now we transition to the conversation with the witches, where he basically learned to value his life, to value the gifts that were given to him by Satella, by his mom, his father, like everything that everyone has ever given to him and like cherished from and or for him. He understood that he had to, like, you know, cherish that stuff. And he had to understand that people will cry if you die. People will care. People will weep. People will hurt if you're not there anymore. So I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but there's always going to be someone who will care about you not being here anymore. If you're going through a hard time, just know that like it'll always get better. You can't appreciate the sunny days, the sunshine, until you see what it's like when it's rainy, stormy, super bad weather. You can appreciate the good things more when you've been through and seen and experienced the bad. So just keep pushing. But also, this is something that Subaru himself, he struggled with. And after getting to talk to the witches, he realized that like he is someone worthy of receiving love. So are you. Everyone is. No matter what you've done, how many crimes you've committed, because there was a time where people were just innocent without sin. And if you were to go back to that time where it was just nothing but pure blissful ignorance, who could you blame, or what could you blame for like someone turning out to be how they are, other than just like their experiences, the people around them, and their overall environment in general? It's like you can see how someone could turn out to be a certain way, but when you take them back to square one or like square zero, you can see that not everyone starts off on trash. But I digress. The reason why peak speech hits me so fucking hard, because like I can relate to Subaru in so many ways that it's not even fucking funny, dude. I literally see myself in Subaru in so many ways. I'm not gonna go into it, but I just relate to this character in a way that only became more apparent the more of his character growth and development that I got to see, and the more of his backstory I got to understand over time, especially like the thing with his parents, which like that's like a really touchy subject with me. But again, I digress. Subaru, because of those tendencies of his to not value himself, but to think of everybody else around him as more worthy of praise and acknowledgement of their actions and like heroic deeds than himself, of course he's not going to immediately think that he would be even a contender to be in the conversation to do something like getting the morale for everybody in the city up, giving a speech, talking to everyone to let them know, hey, it's okay, everything's going to be okay because we're on it. That speech hit me so fucking hard when I was reading it and watching it, even though it was hard to see because all the fucking tears. I was crying like a little bitch. I'm sorry. Shit's peak. Shit's It's absolutely fucking peak. And I'll die on that hill. Ugh. But when everyone else was saying that, like, yeah, nah, it wouldn't work if we did it. That, this is the Subaru. The Subaru that gets to say this is the Subaru that has made it here. This is not the Subaru from season 1. This is not the Subaru from season 2. This is the Subaru that has seen all of that and has made it to this spot, made it to this point right here, right now. This isn't even the same Subaru from episode 1 of this season. This is the Subaru from right now that has taken and garnered every single ounce of experience that he can garnish from everything that he's ever done, everything he's ever seen, anything he's ever been told. All of that was the culmination of this speech, of his progress and his development as a character, as the main character. I've been talking about this speech for so fucking long, and I've been waiting so fucking long for this fucking speech, and nothing that I say can even remotely give this thing justice. Because rather than me trying to talk over it, I just wanted you guys to see this peak speech through and through. This fucking speech, it left me speechless. For someone who doesn't believe in himself as much as he should, for someone who doesn't believe that he can make a real change because there are so many other people who can, will, and probably should be doing better than him. It's always the man with the most impeccable timing that everyone ends up looking towards for help, guidance, advice, anything, and that's Natsuki Subaru. This man, Jesus Christ, he was the one who defeated Sloth. He was the one who subjugated the white whale. Him telling everyone, no matter where they are, to look to their side. Who do they see? Someone you love, someone you kind of know, someone you like, someone you've just met for the first time. How could you not be strong for them? If you can be strong for not just for yourself, but for the people around you. Sorry, I keep shaking the fucking camera. If you can be strong for those around you, that obviously includes yourself. In this context, Subaru is telling people that because he wants to know that everyone hasn't given up hope. Because he knows what it's like to give up. He knows what it's like to want to give up, to give in to despair, to like the will of the archbishops, the witches. Like, he knows what it's like to be on the very fucking brink of sanity. And what did he say? He said that he's been alone. He knows what it feels like. When you're alone, that's when you think about all of this crazy, crazy work. But when you're with someone, when you're together, that burden gets eased just a little bit. For some, it may be a lot. I'm sorry, that fucking theme that played. Oh my God, bro. There's no way I can just keep going down. So why look down, bro? God, like, this may be... I mean, obviously, this is the best episode by far. This is the best episode of Season 3 by far. And I know we're not gonna get... I know we're not going to get other. Okay, every episode is peak. There are a few. Actually, no, there's a lot of chapters in Arc 5 and Arc 6 that are among my favorite moments in all of fiction. And most of my favorite moments in fiction comes from this fucking series. Some of my other favorite moments in fiction comes from other series, like other anime, some video games, like Pokemon Black and White has like one of like my favorite, like some of my favorite moments in fiction. But again, this speech was the culmination of the hero that has been in the making for 3 seasons. And now that he finally has that title, not just as a knight, but as a true fucking hero, everyone will listen. And everyone did listen. This is already going a bit longer than like this is going about as long as I expected, even though I have quite a lot to say. I know I'm probably going to think of other things like when I'm done, so I'm not going to try and, milk this for too long. This has been your boy Shaq, aka Black Goku. This is one of my favorite episodes of all of anime and all of ReZero, by far. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you're on Patreon, you already know what to do. I love and appreciate all you guys. Thank you for showing me like the love and support for this series on this channel. I so greatly appreciate it. You guys have helped me grow in a way where I didn't know how YouTube was gonna go, and like we're still just getting started, but the sky's the fucking limit, right? Reach for the stars. Subscribe and hit that notification bell as well so you can stay updated on when I make videos, content, go live, and all that good crazy shit. But I'll catch y'all in the next one. Until next time, this was the peak speech. I'm out.